Welcome to Justice TV. I'm Nathan Seltzer, Vice President of Operations for the Justice Foundation, and I'm joined as always by Allan Parker, President of the Justice Foundation. How are you doing today, Allan?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's program. You're going to see an amazing music video. It's really a short film about a really important topic, and that's the distribution of the chemical abortion pill in the United States. It's a big topic, going to be a big topic for a long time in America and around the world. And we have an artist with us today who has created an incredible video. We're going to talk with him about it. I'm excited about that. And it also focuses on prayer for the United States Supreme Court. We want people praying for those in authority. The Bible commands us to pray for those in authority, that we might lead quiet and godly lives in all dignity and tranquility. And we should pray without wrath or dissension. So I just want to say, whatever side of the abortion issue you're on, we love you. We love those that even have been part of the abortion industry. We had the great honor of representing Norma McCorvey and Sandra Cano, whose cases brought abortion to America.
And those cases being Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton.
That's right. And yet Norma began to work in abortion clinics and saw how horrible it was. And then she gave her life to Jesus Christ, found forgiveness and freedom. And then in Sandra's case, she was almost forced to have an abortion, barely escaped from it. And by the way, all that stuff's written about in my book called Reversing Roe v. Wade, My Journey with Roe, Doe, and God. But we want to talk about praying for the Supreme Court today.
Because the moral outcry petition.
Yes. So the moral outcry petition movement is something that you can join, because it's a moral outcry petition movement to make abortion illegal in all 50 states. Now, why would we want to do that? Number one, because abortion is a crime against humanity. It withdraws legal protection from a class of human beings, just like slavery did, segregation did, and that class of human beings is children in the womb. Secondly, instead of helping a woman like we think it might do for some people who want abortion, no, it brings death and destruction and pain into a woman's life, as you've heard many times on this program. And the third reason is, in every state of America, there is a safe haven law. No woman has to parent a child if she doesn't want to. She can simply relinquish her child at a fire station or hospital or other designated place within a certain period of time after birth at no cost, and she's free of all burden of parenting. Unlike abortion, as I said, it's free, and unlike abortion, there's no abortion-related trauma for the woman. So we can love the baby, love the mother, and have compassion for her. Please don't hurt yourself. Please don't kill the baby. Give us the baby through the safe haven law, and what will happen to that child? Well, there are millions of people in America every year waiting to adopt a newborn child. So it's the love, love, love solution. That's the moral outcry petition. You can sign the petition and get involved in the movement. And I think this video we're going to see today is part of the rallying cry for the whole movement. And we're excited to have the author and creator of it, Jonathan Baldwin. And Jonathan, thank you for being on the program and welcome to our show.
My joy. I'm excited to get to be here with you guys today.
And just to tell you a little bit more about Jonathan, he was with us when we rolled out the scroll with the first 250,000 signatures on a 150-foot long scroll at the Supreme Court of the United States. And Jonathan was the graphic artist at that time. I never dreamed as a lawyer that we'd put all the names on a scroll and roll them out before the Supreme Court, but Jonathan was part of that. How did you get involved in that, Jonathan?
Yeah, well, I remember I'd been working with Allan for years, primarily as an intercessor. Honestly, first and foremost, I'm a guy who prays. I sit in a prayer room for 6 hours a day and just cry out to God for him to end abortion. But I just feel like the Lord kind of ambushed me one day. And I was talking to Allan and Mindy
And Mindy is the founder of the Moral Outcry Petition. Sorry, go ahead.
I was talking to them on the phone regarding the moral outcry, and Allan was like, "Yeah, well, typically the way you do this is you put them in boxes and you bring them to the senator's office." And he was like, "You know what? I think I want to take it a step up. I want to like put it on the dot matrix printer paper. You know, the." He's like, "I think it'd be really awesome. We'll just make it really long and go for it." And I just said, "Allan, I think that's a terrible idea."
I know that a lot.
I was like, "No, Allan, like let's do Mindy's dream," because she had seen in the scene where with in Amazing Grace, where they just roll out that scroll in the House of Parliament, and I was like, "Let's create something," you know. And then I was like, I don't know how to do it, but let's do it. Let's create something that is actually a work of art. And so anyway, so we didn't do the dot matrix, but we worked with an amazing printer there in San Antonio who helped actually create on vinyl a 5-foot wide by 125-foot long scroll that we rolled out in front of the Supreme Court twice. We created 2 of those scrolls with over 680,000 signatures at the time. I think we have way more than that now, but of people who said we want abortion to end, and it was just amazing getting to be a part of something like that. Thank you, Allan, for honoring me with being able to create a work of art like that actually got to be unveiled in front of the Supreme Court. It was really fun. And in Arkansas too, right? Didn't we take it to Arkansas too to ban abortion there? It was so crazy.
We did. We rolled it out in the rotunda of the Arkansas Capitol, and then within a day or two, the Arkansas legislature banned abortion, except to save the life of the mother, and did it based on the Moral Outcry Petition, and put the reasons that are in the Moral Outcry Petition, which you can find when you sign it on our website at the Justice Foundation. You can become a part of this. And they found the right to life. Well, they said it's a crime against humanity to take life. And then they also said women are hurt by abortion and there's a safe haven law in our state. We will take every child. We will help you, to the women of Arkansas, with compassion. Don't kill the baby, don't hurt yourself. So then, how did you get the idea for this music video we're going to see? How did that come about?
Well, I wrote a song in 2010, was hoping to include it on my project Mighty Warrior, which were songs to end abortion. I was out in front of Harriet Beecher Stowe's house back in 2004 when I was with Lou Engle, and I prayed to God. I said, "God, give me songs to end abortion." And so I sat down and created this song, really with the intent and the heart, the desire of my heart to be a rallying call for the Moral Outcry, and for the Justice Foundation for kind of some of the work they were doing back then, and then on as it grew. And so it's from Psalm chapter 82. It's actually a song to the leaders of the nation saying, "How long will you deal unjustly? How long will you show partiality to the wicked? Defend the weak, defend the fatherless, and do justice to the afflicted and destitute." And so I just wrote these words, and it was a really different musical song than I'd ever done before. So I was just really struggling with the music. And I thought to myself, man, if I got some of these musicians, Richard Town was one of them, if I got him around this song, I know it would get better. So I texted him, I texted Audra, a friend of mine that's a worship leader, said, "Come over to my house. Let's work on it." And we scratched it out within a few hours. And then as we're in pre-production, I just started seeing these scenes in my head. And I am a videographer by trade, in addition to worship leading. So I'm just like, man, can we create these courtroom scenes? I started dreaming of actually going to maybe an old courtroom. I thought maybe they would let us film something like this in an old courtroom. And then I remembered, oh my goodness, the very first time I did that song was actually in the old Supreme Court room in the Kansas State Capitol. And so I got an opportunity to actually text some of the people there and ask them, is this possible? And by God's grace, we got a sponsor legislature in Overland Park who came alongside us and said, yes, I want this to happen. In the old Supreme Court room, we got that sponsorship, and several other people in the Kansas state government were involved just to help bring this thing to the end. And we shot it. And Allan, you flew out for it. It was so fun. You were yourself actually in it. You played yourself and Mindy as well. you guys acted in it as yourselves.
That's right. And in one of the scenes in the video you're going to see in just a few minutes is there's a scroll rolled out. That's the moral outcry petition, even in the court. And Melinda Thibault, the founder of the Moral Outcry, is in it. And the courtroom that it's actually in is very significant. Many of you know the decision of Brown v. Board of Education, but you don't remember the second part. Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. So the case that ended segregation in America started in Topeka. And so we are ending abortion in America because it's a crime against humanity, just like slavery and segregation were, once condoned by the Supreme Court, once accepted by everybody in America. But now, abortion, thank God, the Supreme Court has reversed Roe v. Wade, and we've got to pray for it. Right. And why is this case about the abortion pill? Tell us a little bit more about the story or what's in it that we're going to see from your perspective.
Yeah, so from the beginning, Mindy is just really like the Lord speaks to her all the time, and Allan knows that well. And she told me from the beginning, she's like, make this about the abortion pill. That's the next battle. And I don't know, I've always been really involved in the surgical abortion side. Little did I know that since Roe has been overturned, and I didn't know this at the time, but over 50% of all abortions are now happening from the pill. And so that, and on top of, different candidates and different people suggesting 15-week abortion bans that would undo some of the other abortion bans, I was just like, man, I really want to stand up for these sub 15-week babies. Again, 50% of all abortion are these babies. I want to stand up for them and let their stories be heard before the Lord. And that really is that final scene in the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but in the short film is really equating that decision of that pill with whether or not that child's going to be able to live or not. So I'll leave it at that so that I don't spoil it.
Well, it's an amazing video, and it also calls for praying for the Supreme Court. And we urge all of you in our audience to join in the cry. It's called Plead Your Case. And it's the pleading for the children and the mothers agonizing. The judge in the case represents a Supreme Court justice, and we need to be praying for all of the Supreme Court judges. This is a cry for justice, and it's a cry for praying for the Supreme Court, which we're commanded to do. So,
yeah, one of the most powerful things in the video, from my perspective, was the children praying for the Supreme Court. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I invited 24 people over to my house to pray and to cry out. There's this one point where you just hear like a sea of voices surrounding some of the prayers that popped out, which was Mindy's prayer and some of the others that prayed. And one of the kids that came to pray was this young man, Zadok. And he came over to pray, and all of a sudden he prays, Lord, as you saved me from abortion. And I look at his dad and I'm like, is that true? Or, I mean, he's a young guy. So I'm like, is he just kind of, exaggerating? He said, no, this is really his story. And I went, oh my goodness. So it just struck me. And I didn't say anything because I like to collaborate. I'm a collaborator. So Richard and I were working on the prayers. I said, hey, listen to all these prayers. We listened to, I think all 24. And he just was, every time he listened to that, and still to this day, all of my friends, they listen to it, and when it gets to that point with that boy, they all break down crying. I think the co-producer, Fady, who mixed it and everything, he just told me that the other day, just how he just completely breaks down when that boy cries every time. And so we just realized, wait, we need to bring the kids around this. And my heart right now, even at the House of Prayer, where I work at the International House of Prayer, I'm just like, man, everything's about the kids. let's make it all about the kids in this season. And so, in fact, as soon as I'm here, I got to run. I got to roll over to go pray with the kids because we have a prayer meeting with our kids. So we want to raise up the next generation, because honestly, at the end of the day, if we don't teach our kids how to pray, there's really no hope for our nation. Like, we have to actually get our kids to grab a hold of what the Lord touched our hearts with. And so he's the one that's got to do that, right? So, and you see some of my kids, by the way, my kids are down there too. They're crying out, and they prayed on the CD as well. So,
well, we're eager to see it. So thank you for being with us today. Thank you. And everybody keep praying for Jonathan Baldwin and his ministry, and that this song will go out across America. Thank you, Jonathan.
And could I say one more thing real fast? I don't know if we could, but if you could, share this video. Once you've watched it, share it on social media. If you can, comment directly on the video on YouTube. That's really helping. We're getting quite a firestorm of comments, some of them positive, some of them negative. People just really talking about this video, but it will help it get in front of more faces if you will comment directly on the video and then share it everywhere you can. We really want to get this thing out.
So without further ado, let's take a look at the video.
God takes his stand before the rulers of the nations. He judges in the middle of their halls, saying, how long will you rule unjustly, ruling in favor of the wicked? Takes his stand in the assembly of the mighty, speaking in the middle of their courts, saying, how long will you judge unjustly, ruling in favor of the wicked? Bring justice to the afflicted and destitute. Oh God, do not be silent. Oh God,
And if I have found favor, let there be a decree that reverses the orders of this court today.
Father, I pray for every pregnant mom that you would just minister to them, that they would choose life.
We are asking you, God, to hear the prayers of the tiny ones.
Lord, we want to stand with you. We want to be those that trust you.
Abba, align our hearts with your heart for the babies. Father, move our hearts to fully and joyfully believe that children are a gift from you.
Save the little one as he saves me from being aborted.
Arise, O Judge of the earth. In your justice, show us the worth of the children. Arise, O Judge of the earth. In your justice, show us the worth of the babies.
Praise God. That is an amazing video. I've seen it many times, and every time it touches me. We just wanted to thank you for being with us today, and we wanted to remind everyone that you can join with the Justice Foundation. We want to hear what you have to say about this episode, about the video, if you have comments for Jonathan, and also remind you that you can be a partner with the Justice Foundation. If you give a monthly donation in any amount, we will send you a copy of Allan Parker's book, Reversing Roe v. Wade, My Journey with Roe, Doe, and God. And that's also available for purchase on our website, thejusticefoundation.org. But you can get it for free with a monthly donation of any amount. And whether you give or not, we need your prayers. We need your prayers for the Supreme Court, and we need your prayers for the Justice Foundation. So please join with us in partnership in prayer and giving, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.